Hey, how you guys doing? So this is Neil, professional artist, art instructor, best-selling author. I'm going to show you guys how to make arms look cool. Now, this is if you want to do more realistic figure, a more realistic figure. This isn't so much comic-y, but you can see a lot of the style of how it's shaded and stuff is comic-y. But before we get in how to, how do we draw the arm like this, first we have to know a little bit about anatomy. So, yeah, no, like no one wants to learn anatomy. And I'm just going to go through some very basics of the arm anatomy. I'm not going to go into real depth. If you want the real in-depth, I have a whole entire course on that. The link's in the description, masterpaintingnow.com, and it's my anatomy for human figure drawing. But let's go through some basic stuff here. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a new layer here. And on this layer, I'm going to draw with red. So, and in fact, just to make sure that I know that's the layer I'm on, we'll go ahead and mark it as red. So the first thing is you have the deltoid. Now the deltoid, typically if you have your arm here from the side and you have this humerus bone coming down here, you have your collarbone coming down, your scapula in the back there. The deltoid connects along and around like this. Like if you look at it from the top view, it has a view like that. Then it comes over here and connects to the humerus bone like that. And the back side wraps around, also connects to the humerus bone. That's from the front view. From the back view, it's very similar, but it comes out like here more and it comes out like that. And then it kind of wraps around. That's what you see. You kind of see this big kind of block. And that stretches depending if the arm raises. So if the arm raises up like this, then the scapula moves and so does this pivot point. And so you have the arm coming like this and it kind of stretches the deltoid out. So if you know the connection points of where muscles connect at, then you know how they stretch and it helps you draw from imagination better. And that's why I highly recommend learning anatomy, even though, yeah, it might not be the most fun thing to learn. And it could be a long process as well. So anyway, knowing that, let's go ahead and get into the anatomy of the arm here. So I'm going to go to number 3, size, pen here, and clip Studio Paint EX. EX, the only main difference is it has this animation. So if you like to do animation, it's a really good animation thing and also allows you to do pages anyway. So remember that the deltoid connects to the collarbone. So we're going to kind of draw where this deltoid connects and it goes back around. It connects, remember the humerus bone is somewhere around here and it goes like that. And so the humerus bone is here and it's connecting to the other side, on the other side of the arm that we cannot see. And so it's wrapping around, and it's good to understand that kind of process. So it comes like here, so the deltoids wrap around, it's connecting over here. So if you just want to imagine where it's wrapping but don't draw it, and we kind of come like this. Now, because of the bend, there's a bend in this muscle right here. So there's going to be a little indent right here, and you can actually shade that in because that's where the bend of the deltoid's happening. The pec muscle attaches along the collarbone, then it attaches along the sternum, sometimes across the little bit of these upper ribs, things like the 7th rib or something, or 8th rib. Then it kind of comes up and it connects also, but it goes underneath the bicep and it goes underneath the pectoral, the deltoid, sorry. And it also connects to the other side of your bone there, of the humerus bone. So it kind of comes like this right here. And then it stretches. So now you know if the connection points are here, here, and here. So this right here is all the connection points like that. And then the other connecting points are here. And then it kind of comes out with the different muscles. And sometimes another muscle comes right here and it connects right along with the deltoid. Now when this happens, this ends up looking like one whole muscle, like especially when it's stretched up like this. It's hard to see a separation between the muscles because fat fills in this area, and so you can't see the separation between the muscles. And by fat, I mean you could be like 10% body fat and still have that separation between these muscles. Bodybuilders, they have to like really get super lean, like down to like the 7% body fat to like be able to see that separation. So then typically when this muscle stretches, it kind of has an indent right here, and it kind of comes out like that sometimes, and kind of sucks in like this, sometimes like that, because it kind of takes on a shape like this. And you can just look at different references and things like that to get these ideas. Now there's another muscle, and I'm not going to go through all the technical names, all that, just to make it short here. But you have some of the major ones I'll name. You have the bicep muscle. The bicep typically connects to 2 different parts on the humerus bone in here. Kind of wraps around 2 different parts of it. Where the tendons are, but that's not really important. What's important is where does it extend out of? Like what do you see visibly? And it comes out from right here, like where the pec muscle is, and it comes down, depends how big it is, and it kind of stops right around here because it kind of connects over to the end of the humerus bone and partly to the to your forearm bones, the ulna and radius. But we're just gonna kind of stop it, like kind of coming up and wrap it around, because it kind of connects up and around to the other side, not from this underside. So we're gonna kind of just draw it like this here, and that's like the basic shape. And it kind of wraps, like I said, wraps around. You can even kind of draw it like this if you wanted to, and it kind of wraps around over there where we can't see where it's connecting. Now there's another couple important muscle groups, and there's one that connects right on the elbow, and it kind of comes right across and connects to the bicep here, and it's kind of big. Well, it depends, like you can build it up. So, and it kind of comes along like that and kind of comes along underneath the thing. You're going to see how this plays a role when we start drawing and sketching over this. These muscles are important to learn because it helps you know where to draw your lines at. Like how do I, like over here, how did I know where to draw all these lines at and the shadow and shading? It all comes from these underneath muscles and what visibly shows through, depending on how much fat is covering the muscles and how hard they're flexing and things like that. The other muscle that's really important, it follows along with this muscle right here, and it's part of your tricep. Now, your tricep muscle, well, before we connect the tricep muscle, let's connect this muscle right here. Like it comes like this right here, and it comes over here like that. Boom. That's how I usually draw it, just like that. Kind of just connects right to about the mid part of the bicep, and then comes down like this. And this is actually what kind of forms your armpit area. Like right in here, this connection area. This is all the armpit area in here. But there is a hole you can kind of push between these muscles, between your latissimus dorsi, bicep, and this muscle right here. I forgot the name of this muscle off the top of my head right now that pokes through. I think it's more visible, I think, in the backside, or it might be an inner muscle. I can't remember. But yeah, sometimes the name of the muscles don't matter. You just gotta, anyway, you have your latissimus dorsi or your lat muscle that comes down here, and it kind of comes out kind of, kind of fat, kind of big like that. Now, what's important is this kind of curved shape it creates right here. This is going to create a unique shape that we need for if you want to add that shape in there, depending on how buff the person is. There's another muscle underneath here, but it's not important because it's usually not visible. But what is visible is when connecting off of here and off the elbow is you have your tricep, and the tricep is going to come here and it's going to connect right like this. And that's pretty much all you're going to see of the tricep muscle, kind of like that right there. It's like there's a hole here, like a horseshoe hole. So from the backside of the muscle, if you have the shoulder and the deltoids coming down like this, you have this kind of, down here like that. And you have your tricep coming like this. The tricep muscle is coming down. And it's kind of like a horseshoe, and it comes down to the elbow, and then it kind of connects like that, and you have other muscles coming down. This horseshoe shape, this empty area right here, this is what we're going to be seeing as an underplane sometimes. So just keep that in mind. You don't really see the tricep muscle too much, but when it flexes, I should just erase that instead of backing up here. Undo, 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 undo. Anyway, so if this person was as big, this would be like this. You wouldn't be able to see so much of the tricep. Because they're big though, they have this, let me go ahead and redraw this here. They have, well, one, they're flexing here, so they have big biceps. They're flexing also, so it means that their triceps are flexing. Now, you can give different shapes to this to make it look cool for comic effect. So sometimes all I like to do is come down here and kind of like the angle shape is kind of like this here. And I add just a slightly different shape to the arm. So I kind of curve this in a little bit more and then kind of curve like that. And then I think that looks better for comic reasons. So basically, if it were over here, this would kind of come in straight and then kind of come down like that and kind of have this shape like this. And I just think it looks cool for comics. It's not anatomically correct, but you don't always have to be anatomically correct when it comes to comics. It's all about cool factor, but you want to stick to the anatomy, somewhat. Anyway, so imagine this muscle comes like this and it connects up and around like that. Now, knowing that it connects right to that latissimus, it kind of goes underneath it. Knowing that that shape's right there, this is going to help you, draw what lines you need to draw, what shading you need to draw. And you can see, like on this side over here, you have a little bit of that line right here showing this line right here, this muscle that comes across like this. And you can see that I drew that line there to show indication. Actually, this line here shows indication of the separation of the arm and the fat being bent. But this line right here is representation of this muscle right here. And then you can see this kind of horseshoe shape, which is representation right here. This is the where the muscle doesn't appear, and that usually gives you this kind of horseshoe shape. Now sometimes you can see a little bit of the other side of the deltoid depending if you're kind of looking up. Remember the deltoid's like this, and it extends to both sides of the arm. So if you're looking underneath the arm and you're seeing part of this plane right here, that flat plane, you can sometimes see the horseshoe shape wrap around like that, and you can see some of this other side, just barely. You're not going to see much of it, but you might see a hint of it, and that kind of gives it that extra, pull out right here. Okay, now the other muscles that we want to go through just very quickly here is you have a muscle that comes off the center of the arm here. Now it depends on the shape. This is what we're seeing is the underside of the arm a lot, but the arm or the elbow pit is more like right around here. And so if you're looking at the bicep from the front view and it's coming down like this, you'll have this kind of elbow pit right here where it's kind of blank like this, and you have the bones coming out here, and you have the muscles, and this is the underside of the arm here. So then you'd have some of the tricep showing through because the tricep's actually bigger than the bicep. Then you have your muscles coming through like this. Now there's different muscles underneath here you can see, and you have like a split somewhere, and you have this radial brachialis that comes from the side view here, and it comes like this, and it wants to come all the way over, and it wants to connect to the thumb. But anyway, like I said, I go through all the angles and in great detail about anatomy in my anatomy course for figure drawing. So it's a 65-hour course, but very well worth it. It's like, you learn more from that course than you ever will like going to like a really good art school. So anyway, you have right about in the middle of this muscle here from this view, you have this muscle comes like this, and it comes up right here like that. Now it might not be that big. It all depends on the person, but they might have some buffness here. And then there's a split in the muscle right here, and there's a muscle between there. Now, you're not really going to see those muscles, but you might see this line right here. Now the next thing is this other muscle can buff out here, and that splits where this splits off right here. You have another muscle that comes like that, and sometimes you can see this muscle right here. So this muscle and this muscle right here. That's pretty much all you need to know for this underside. Is understanding all these lines really helps. Now let's go ahead and make them a little bit lighter here. Now we're going to add another layer, and I like to color my layers, so I'm going to go to use another color. Default is black. Now it's black. This just lets me know that's an inking layer. I'm going to be inking on this layer. I'm going to move him over here. This way I can have my little camera here of the of filming. I'm going to make sure that's still filming good here, and it's recording. Everything's good. All right. Okay. So continuing on here. Hopefully this is all. Need like a mirror or something behind there so I can see if it stops recording. Right, now let's go ahead and draw over this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to take this layer here that I had originally drawn on, and I'm just going to make this a lot lighter. Because we're gonna draw all new lines here. Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Keep in mind that we're drawing like comic-y stuff more from imagination, so you don't have to worry about like so much of accuracy. But one thing I like to do that looks really cool for the arm is right here where it connects. I like to take the arm up, and you see this. There's a split. Oops. There's a split in the bicep. Remember, the bicep is two muscles, and from this view we can kind of see that slight split. And so I'm going to show that split here like this by going like that. And then I'm going to show just a little bit of the bump here, and I'm going to kind of come up like that, and I'm going to show that, boom, that shape right there. Now I'm going to show a little bit of that shape right here, and then the deltoid is going to come in back of this, and this is going to be the bicep like this, and the deltoids are coming back. Now the deltoid, I like to add this kind of cool shape like this. That's just me personally. I think it looks cool. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the shape right here coming up. I'm just going to kind of hint at some of these shapes here. So I'm going to kind of curve here like that, coming out to that shape right there, and then coming down like this. So I'm just kind of hinting at some of the other shapes there. I don't like to usually connect all my lines. Sometimes I might even come back in here, erase some of this, and then just hint at some of these things by just drawing a couple of dots. Maybe have a couple of dots coming out here and a couple of dots coming here, just to show that there is a change in form. Same thing here, like I might just add a couple lines here and then show that change in form, and I'm going to come like this. Now, I like to shape this kind of like typically it goes like this. This is the natural shape when someone flexes right here. But for comic books, I like to kind of pull it like this here. So boom, like that. And it kind of adds that more cooler shape. And then for shadowing, depending on the direction of the shadow, you actually can have a change in direction like this. Believe it or not, for the arm. And a lot of how you choose to shadow each individual form really does make a difference. And it all depends on, what direction the light's coming from and what kind of part you want to show. And so basically the idea here, the reason why, and I wouldn't actually shadow it like that, but the reason why that is because you have this center mass, and you have a kind of a bump here, and you have this center muscle. I'm going to shade that right there because I know that's out of view of the light pretty much from any angle that I'm going to be doing lighting from. But there's this center muscle, and I'm kind of hinting at that by drawing a little bit of the lines. And remember, the bicep is made up of two muscles, which is why it's called the bicep. Now, from down here to here, there is like a harder, this is the harder part of the bicep here, and this is like the softer part of the bicep. So this is the part that you really build up. So it's these two bumps, you build up these two bumps here, and then there's still a part of the bicep that connects here and here, but these are the main parts you build up. And that's what I'm showing right here. So, and I realize I'm not even on black. I don't know how that happened there. But anyway, so let's go ahead and erase some of that. So if you keep that in mind, that shape right there, that's kind of what I'm going by. And so I kind of want to, hint at that shape and show it there. And so that's why I'm going to just have the light come all the way across like that and shadow it. And that's going to give me the ultimate shape I want. The deltoid, I got to decide again what, if the light's kind of coming from the top and toward us, I'm going to get rid of that line. Okay, I can't. Actually, it's back here. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that completely. We'll have him come, we'll have his, part of his trapezius, I'll have it coming back here like that, even though he's not really flexing it too much, but I still want to be able to see it a little bit. I'm deciding how I want to, okay, so basically because I'm following that same shape, I know the deltoid also has a couple different shapes to it, but the pec muscle kind of really comes up and usually will take over a lot of this and overlap it depending on how big it is. And you can actually pull this out here and you can actually overlap the deltoid. So you could come up like this and kind of overlap the pec muscle like that with the deltoid, foreshortening. So because it's overlapping, that's a form of foreshortening. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna pull it up like this, come across like that. I'm not gonna connect it fully. And then I'm gonna show this little line right there. That just shows the separation between the deltoid muscles. And I'm gonna kind of go like this. Now from here, I'm going to come like this for my shadowing. And honestly, it's the shadowing to me that makes the arm really look cool. And you can make the bicep come down here and be bigger if you want to. That's all up to you, like how you want to do that, and how much this detail here you want to show versus stippling and that kind of thing. I do want to show a little bit of. So I already have the shadow of the pec here. That's pretty much going to be it. I might add like a little bit of shadow like in here, just to show that it's really making a separation between those muscles there. And I might even add just a little bit here, like that. This will be light shadow. Right, so there you have it. Now I'm going to have the lats come straight up here and come down like this. Like so. This muscle here, you're not really going to see much of it, but you might see the rib cage itself, which will come off of here. And you might just see a little bit of the lines of the rib cage. I'm going to kind of just hint at them being there. And that you can also add a little bit of shading if you want to. But typically the lats don't get too much shading, but I'm going to add just a little bit of shading to the lats here. And then if I'm not going to show that muscle there or that muscle there. This muscle should probably get a little bit of shading underneath it, just to show a separation of form. And it's a very thin muscle, so it's not going to get much shading itself, like this. And this is like, you know, when you see like, you can add veins, all kind of stuff, and sometimes like comic book artists will add muscles that just don't exist because they don't know their anatomy too well, or maybe it's, I don't know, for whatever reason they want to do that. I'm going to add this kind of shape come off here, and I'm going to kind of show this round part right here. That's the underside, remember, between the deltoid, the deltoid muscle, not deltoid, excuse me, between the tricep. How many times have I called it deltoid so far? Anyway, hopefully I didn't do that too many times. And I might just show like a little curve here of the armpit, 'cause usually that's where you can push your fingers up inside there. Anyway, yeah. I'm going to come harder here with this line. Now here's where I'm going to try and change my shape, and I want to really show the elbow here. I'm going to show this muscle coming off like that. And I like to do that just because I like this shape for the arm. And it all depends on you as a comic book artist, you know, how you want to shape your arms. I like the arm kind of shape like that. It looks really cool in my opinion, but you can shape it how you want. You can go, you know, less dramatic. In fact, actually, I decided I want to go less dramatic here. I want to come up like this, and then like this. I like this shape for my comic figures, and I'm going to come with that same shape here though. I kind of want to just hint at it though, so I'm going to kind of go like this, and I'll hint at it more with shadow than anything else. All right, so that's that shape there. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. I could hint at this muscle being flexed because, you know, guys do build that muscle up. And if I wanted to, yeah, I think I will. And I'm just going to hint at it with lines. But it does show that it's being built up. Now I could also show like a highlight area here, because sometimes you'll have a little highlight right there, and I could just do it like that. That's how I do my highlights sometimes with inking. Now you got to think about, okay, how much of the muscles, of these muscles, do you want to see? And you can go all crazy with it. I like to draw this one here because it does show a lot of form of the arm. And so I'm just going to kind of go like this, and I'm going to hint at this muscle right here, the separation just a little bit, like that, boom. I like to show that wrist bone right there. I think it looks cool. In fact, I'm going to probably exaggerate a little bit more. I really want to show this wrist bone coming, and I'm going to come straight, and then I'm going to come around like this. That's a little too, but like this. So, and I add different shapes. So I like sometimes adding like almost straight shapes, like hard shapes versus rounded. And it's up to you whether or not you want to do any of that. But from this angle, actually, honestly, this part of the forearm is probably coming straight off like this. And that looks cool, but notice how I drew it before. I think it looks better, even though it's anatomically not correct. Like anatomically, you would pretty much have this muscle coming like this, and then you would have the forearm coming right off of this like this, and kind of have a beefy shape like that, and then coming like that. That's kind of like what you'd really see from this angle. But again, this is where knowing anatomy and then knowing when to break the rules. It's kind of like writing. You know, once you know the rules of writing, then you can start breaking them. But until you know the rules, it's not recommended to break the rules. Now remember, there's this muscle that comes down like this right here, and I got to decide how much that muscle do I want to see. Do I want to see any of that muscle? And that's all up to me. So I'm going to just show a little bit of it here. I'm going to kind of stipple it like that. And I'm deciding whether or not I want to show more of this muscle right here. And I don't think I do. I think instead I want to show this muscle. This is a small little muscle that comes like, you know, across, and we don't usually see it from this angle much. Just debating. I'm also debating whether I like the overall shape I just did there. And I don't think I do. I think I might have to go with the more anatomically correct. I mean, I like the way it looks from one side, but when you take this side in consideration too, then it doesn't look as cool. So, decisions. So instead, I'm going to kind of go with this kind of block look right here. I kind of like that look, and I think that's coming up too high, so I'm going to keep it down here like this. And then I'm going to kind of come with that muscle, and I might actually show, let's see here. So you have this muscle coming out. All right, so I know you're going to see just a little thin part of the muscle here, and it kind of comes like that, right? That's kind of like what happens, but I don't know. I don't really want to show all that because it doesn't look that cool. And again, it's all about cool factor. So I am going to show just a little bit of that muscle right here. I'm going to just kind of hint at it coming down like that. And remember, the lighting is coming more from this from the right hand side, so a lot of this is going to be in shadow. And so instead, I want to kind of show some of this muscle here in shadow like this. And let's see what that looks like without the under. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. And then we can also add shadowing to the whole underside of the knuckles here, like that. And then I might add just a little bit of, I like to kind of add these like kind of cool, like weird shapes like this for my fingers. And then I'm not going to connect the full knuckles there. You get the idea. And there you have it. So I showed you the actual anatomy of the arm, how it actually looks, and then I went in, and this is actual anatomy, this is more comic book anatomy. So you can see how I really exaggerated this shape here, and I exaggerated this straight line and this shape here. I exaggerated the elbow. I curved this line in here and come out. So basically, if it was over here, I came in and I curved this line out and then came in like this. I can even pull this up bigger like that, come down like this more. I can come more blocky here, straight, come here, come out more blocky like that. So I just kind of changed just a couple little things I changed, but those few changes make the arms look cool. So think about the anatomy. After you have the anatomy down, then think about, okay, what can I break about the anatomy? What can I change? What do I like? What do I not like? And I might add just a little bit of shadow right in here for the shape, because otherwise it looks like a big white shape in there and it wouldn't look like that, like this. And then, you can maybe even add just a little bit of shadow in here like that, just to kind of, and this is stuff you can do in the coloring stages. And then sometimes I might even add on this plane here, because it's still turning, it's gonna be a little bit lighter than this plane, but that way the lighting on that side comes a little bit more. And then you might even add just a little bit of shape here like this, and add some light shadowing over here. That way the light's hitting correctly. And I would do the same thing over here to this arm as well, add a lot more shadowing on this side. All this right here would be shadowed in, for example. But anyway, you get the idea, guys. So yeah, hopefully this helps. And if this does help, please do me a favor. Make sure it's still recording. Okay, cool, it is. I have no idea how like straight this is on the camera up there because I can't see it. But hopefully it's semi-straight. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. And if this has helped you at all, please do me a favor and subscribe. That way you get more, but even more importantly is share it, because when you share it, other people get a chance to learn as well. So click that share button or copy and paste the link however you want to on your favorite social medias, and then maybe someone else will benefit from it like you did. And this has helped me a lot. Now this is just, like I said, some basic anatomy of the arm. I can go into much more detail about the arm at different angles. If you guys like this kind of stuff, I had another angle I kind of wanted to cover of the arm. And but this video is already kind of long, so that's why I didn't do that. But yeah, if you do want me to cover that, I've already covered kind of some of the anatomy here, and some of the, the anatomy go much quicker in that video because it's already covered in this video. So I just go over briefly and say, hey, go back to this video if you want to learn more about it. But if you want to go deep into anatomy and really understand all the muscles and where they connect and stuff, it really does help understand how to draw the forms. But anyway, yeah, so again, also, if you want to get a really cool book as a really awesome reference, and it's really down to earth, written in a down to earth way that's easy to understand, and has a lot of images. But I obviously recommend actually reading it because that's how you learn. And that's How to Draw Awesome Figures by Neil Fontaine. You can find that on Amazon. And anyway, so when you know like where the muscles attach to, like remember, because I said the pec muscle attaches way on the other side, opposite of us, over here to the humerus bone, I know that it's being stretched up like that, so it changes the shape of the pec muscle. And you can kind of imagine how the muscle shape, like this one, notice this one's really being stretched. And it looks like all one muscle connected to the deltoid, because this deltoid is also stretching around, attaching to the same side as the pectoral muscle. And that's why they stretch up and over when you have your arms lifted. And if you have your arms lifted straight up, you almost can barely even see the deltoid because it's being foreshadowed by other muscles. But also same thing with like, bicep and things like that, how they stretch. But mainly these muscles right here really help a lot knowing where they connect, and also the latissimus dorsi, which also connects to the other side, and how it stretches. knowing how these muscles connect and how they stretch, and like there's some muscles in the forearm that are really important to understand when you twist your arm like this, like whether or not you'll see this muscle right here. See, it comes right here, it makes this like shape right here. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it makes a shape right here. It actually starts connecting way up here. And you have one muscle, you have the tricep, and then you have your other muscle connects off of that in between the tricep muscle and your bicep. And I don't have really defined arms, but there's another muscle right here between the brachialis and then the cordobrachialis, and it comes out here, and that's what makes that bump right here. I don't know if you can see that bump. See the bump right there? And that comes and connects all the way around to the inside of the thumb over here. Then you have other muscles that break off here, and another muscle that comes right off the side like that. And then you have the elbow. And understanding how those muscles work and whether you twist your arm this way or this way creates different shapes and how they stretch and move. And knowing their connection points really helps you get that down. And that's why I highly recommend my my course, the anatomy course, if you want to learn that, because it'll take your figure drawing to a whole new level, knowing where all those muscles attach, what they look like, how they look when they flex, when they're not flexed, and it goes through all that. And that knowledge is going to just take your figure drawing to a whole new level, whether you're doing it from reference or you're doing it from imagination. Of course, I teach how to draw from imagination. So yeah. All right, guys, so that's it. I just want to mention that, and yeah, go ahead and share the video so other people can learn from it. And then I might be coming out with another anatomy course, but this will be more specifically for comics, just focusing on the outer muscles, the most important parts where they connect. And it's going to be kind of like a condensed version for how to draw figures, how to draw cool figures for comics. And it's going to be more of anatomy for comics, like how to add these cool little lines, like little tips like this will be in there, but also, you know, the full anatomy will be there where all the muscles attach on a basic, more basic level. So basically condensing down the most important knowledge that's in that 65-hour course all the way down to like 5 hours, you know, long or so. That's my goal. It might not be in like 10 hours. My goal is to try and make it 5 hours long, and it'll go through all the basics. So from the very, very basics, like not knowing how to draw a figure at all, the proportions, all the way up to building the muscles onto the basic skeleton and where they all attach, like the major muscles where they attach, how they look from the outer side. And then if you want to go deeper from there, then you can go and get the other anatomy course. But yeah. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And sorry about the little talk there at the end. Just want to make sure that everyone knows where to get stuff, because I always have people ask me, hey, where do I get this? Where do I get that? Now everything's clear. The link is below the video, so just click the description, open the description up, and you'll see masterpaintingnow.com. Click on that link. And right now, my course is on sale on my site, I think, for it's either $10 or $25. Normally it's like $95 for the anatomy course. I have other courses as well, but that one is like be one of the most useful one for drawing figures. And then another one really good is my gesture drawing course. That one's done on pen and paper, and so sometimes you might have to, like, you know, darken up your screen a little bit to see it better when I'm drawing lighter. But nonetheless, I always darken it up so you can see it. But yeah, it's that one is how to draw gestures is just absolutely amazing, and how much it changes your figures. You know, knowing how to draw gesture drawing first and then adding the anatomy onto that, you just have so much more dynamic looking comic characters, and just much, whether illustrations, whatever it is you're drawing. But anyway, so enough about that. It's just, these are common questions I get, so I figured I'd ask them. I'd answer them now, so I don't have to answer them in text over and over again. All right, again, thanks for watching.